Quantum physics is the most precisely verified science ever developed. It also makes absolutely no sense. And the best way I've found to explain why is a swimming pool. You know, when you're in a swimming pool and you make a wave, the wave spreads out everywhere. It doesn't have one specific location, it's just spread across the whole pool. That's what tiny particles actually do. Electrons, photons, the smallest pieces of everything. They don't sit in one specific place, they spread out like waves, kind of everywhere at once. Until you look. The moment you try to find exactly where the particle is, really look for it. Actually measure it. Keyword measure. It stops being a wave, it becomes a specific thing in a specific place. Not because you disturbed it physically, because the act of measuring, the act of finding, and in my words, in Jiddu Krishnamurti's words, the act of observing, collapses the wave into a location. Before you looked, apparently it's everywhere, which makes no sense because how do we know? Come on, guys. Like, after you looked, right there. That's not a metaphor. That's what I have a hard time saying. That's what actually happens because how do we know where it's at until we're looking at where it's at? But apparently it's verified experimentally many times in many ways. Okay, so here's the obvious question. If particles behave like waves, why don't tables, why don't people, why does the big world act completely differently from the tiny world? This is where it gets interesting. Imagine your swimming pool wave. Now, imagine the pool gets really big, ocean big, and there are millions, billions, trillions of other waves constantly bumping into yours every second from every direction. All that bumping makes your wave make it not look like a wave. It stops spreading everywhere. It starts acting like a specific thing with a specific location. This specifically is called decoherence, and it's why big things act differently from small things. Everything is so large and so constantly bumping into everything else that the wave behavior disappears. Things look separate, look solid, look like they have definite locations. Here's why I want to be straight with you. Physics describes the bumping accurately. Decoherence is real, verified, measured. But what it means, that's still genuinely open. Does the wave behavior disappear at large scales because separation becomes real? Or because everything is so busy bumping into everything else that the wave nature gets hidden? Is separation fundamental? Or is it what waves look like when they've been bumped around long enough to forget their waves? Physics knows what happens, why it happens, and what it means about the nature of reality. That's still the question. The smallest things in the universe don't behave like things, they behave like waves, spread everywhere in multiple states at once until something interacts with them. The big world looks different because everything is constantly interacting with everything else. The wave behavior gets washed out by the bumping. Whether that means the big world is fundamentally different from the small world or just looks different is the most honest, unsolved question in physics. And it starts with a swimming pool.